I'm going to tie a D-loop on right now, and I want to talk about why I tie the D-loops the way that I tie them. And the way that I tie them is I'll cut a little bit longer piece of D-loop material than normal. I start with making a J, and as I go, I'm using my pliers, and I'm actually taking all the slack out as I go, and then burning the first half down, taking that slack out, rolling it, then doing the other side fully. And I'll do that here for you in a second, but I wanted to tell you why. So what a lot of people do, and honestly the fastest way to do it, is they'll just take a pre-cut length and they'll kind of go through the tying motions of essentially what you would need to tie to make a D-loop be on the string. So if this was a pre-cut piece, you know, they might kind of pre-wrap it to where more or less it looks like this. Then they'll get a pair of knock pliers and they'll just take all the slack out of that. But it's loose to begin with, and what happens is with these knock pliers and the D-loops, what happens is when you use a pre-cut piece of D-loop and you just put it on there like that and cinch it into place, what gets the tightest is the inside part of the knot, but not the outside part. And that's the part that as you start to move your loop around, that becomes loose. Now, the other thing that happens is because they're trying to make that thing bite and make it tight, you're actually having to apply so much more pressure in the center of that D-loop in order for it to take the slack out all the way around, over, back down, and take the slack out of what would be the cut off end of that D-loop material. When you're having to put that much pressure in the center in order for that to happen, and you're putting so much pressure on the center part of the loop here, you'll start to separate your serving more intensely, and you kind of prematurely cause separation in the serving because you've literally crimped that D-loop, which was pre-cut in a lot of cases. You've crimped it into its spot versus actually tying it in and taking the slack out as you go, so that you're not forcing your center serving to spread apart in different directions to get out of the way of only that center part of your D-loop. So if you take a full length piece first, go through the protocol that I teach, what's happening is you'll be able to take all the slack out of that outside by the way I show you. You'll be able to go over to this side. You can pull on the center piece on the first half you've started. Then when you go back over to that piece and you wrap it through, you're able to take all the slack out of the tail first, then burn it down, then take it out in the middle. So you're really spending equal amount of time taking the slack out of the ends versus trying to only take the slack out of the ends by double or triple the pressure in the center. This is going to prevent your serving from slipping. When you do this on a brand new bow, trust me when I say pre-cut D-loops with just full pressure to crimp them on is going to absolutely cause serving separation, especially if it's a serving that's never been replaced. That thing's been in a UPS truck for the first time and getting hot and the wax is starting to come out. So take a little bit extra time and do your D-loops the way that I teach you to, so that here in this case right now, you can see I'm able to squeeze this properly. I'm able to grab what's going to be the cutoff end of that D-loop, and I'm able to roll it and squeeze it, and I still haven't even put pressure on this center part yet, but you can see just by doing that, it's already holding that string much better, and I haven't had to put on so much pressure that I've caused separation. So right here, I've got this squeezed. All this slack has been pulled out. I've got it pointing straight up and down now. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that. Point it straight up and down. I've burnt that down now. Now I can grab this long tab and I can pull some of that slack out of the middle. So this is completely tied firm. I haven't caused any type of serving separation there. So now I'll go over here to this opposite side, get my length slightly shorter than what I want it to be as a finish, and I'll go through my process of tying this off. And now I can squeeze this, grab this tail end close, and I'll be able to just roll this, and you can see right there how much slack just came out. And that slack is coming from the outside part, which normally you're just not going to get it all out of there. So I'm able to squeeze that, grab close, roll. You can see right there is all the slack that came out of that outside once again. Squeeze that tight, grab it close, roll. You can see that's come out of there. So now I can actually, you can see how much slack, right there is the slack that's come out. So now I can cut that. Hang tight. And burn that down. Straighten that D-loop up. Now I can put this in here. I can stretch it to the length that I want, but that's a minimal amount of pressure that I've had to put here to fully lock that in, and I've prevented any type of serving slip under this D-loop in either side. So that right there is what you need to do to tie on your D-loop without causing string serving separation. Takes a little bit longer to do than the pre-cut lengths, but that's why, honestly, that's why when we're sending out D-loop material, we send it 5 foot long, so you can cut a piece long enough to be able to get some pressure and be able to pull on, take all your slack out, and tie a perfect D-loop like that that hasn't caused any type of damage to the center serving.